What? You have to check out this TikTok from one of those guys real quick.
So 5'8", it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You know, you like my little sister.
Nobody wants to say it, but heightism might actually be worse than racism. You see,
oh hell no! Who can forget when people under 5'6", men under 5'6", were not allowed to drink from the same water fountains as men over 5'6"? God damn, bro, that is crazy. This has 273,000 likes, bro. Holy wait, that's why they have 2 drinking fountains. That's why they have the shorter drinking fountain. Oh my God, I didn't realize. Heightism, roller coaster rides, and 2 separate heights for 2 separate drinking fountains. That's what it was. Is height segregation. Of course, I'm a tall, so I don't even know. Common Syrian L. This guy, I want to like this guy, but he's just so fucking insane.
Racism is socially condemned. You say something racist, you lose your job, your reputation, your platform, etc.
Yeah, except no. You say something racist, you fundraise $1.5 million. Okay. So I wish this was still the meta. It's no longer the meta. You say something racist, they give you your job back as a government prosecutor. One of the immigration prosecutors the government has literally posted Adolf Hitler in a positive manner, and they quietly brought his job back. They quietly were like, yeah, we'll investigate this. And then now he's a government prosecutor again. One of the largest content creators on this platform just spews bile on a daily basis and has a legion of toxic ass fans.
Society punishes you, but mock someone for their height, that's not condemned. It's actually normalized. It's entertainment.
Yeah, no. I wonder why. Like, here, I'll flip the script, okay? This guy would probably never make this argument, even though you can make the exact same argument about fat shaming, okay? Can you imagine if someone were to make a video about fat shaming being just as bad as racism, or if not worse than racism? What do you think this guy would say? What do you think? You lack the credibility to talk on this issue, Tolly. Fatism is worse than racism. If you made a video about fat shaming, this dude would lose his mind. And no, I know that people can lose weight, but they can't add inches to their height. I know. The point is not whether or not there is a change, whether or not this is a factor that is in your control. The point is making fun of someone being fat or making fun of someone being short is just making you a bully, but it doesn't have any sort of attachment to systemic forms of oppression. It does not. Because your height or your weight can change the way people perceive you, but it doesn't actually genuinely cause real systemic discrimination in the way that racism did and still does to this day. Ain't no cop is pulling you over and being like, oh, you're fat, you're going to prison, okay? Oh, you're short, jail for you, shorty. Like, there are so many. You didn't get redlined on the basis of being fat or on the basis of being short, okay? Come on, guys, wake up. Yeah, doctors are like, hey, sorry, we can't. I don't want to treat you because you're too short. Yes, fat phobia has its own systemic oppression, though. I know. Okay. Yes, there are different points of discrimination on the basis of being short and on the basis of being fat. And there's validity to these arguments. But comparing it to racism is insane. Hello. Ain't nobody was enslaved for being short for 400 years. And if their kids were also short, because, you know, that carries on genetically, then they were slaves too? Really? That's the argument that we're making here? Yeah, I'm enslaving the fatties is not a principle that ever existed. Bro hasn't heard of Oompa Loompas. You're a tall. Your opinion is invalid, to be honest. Okay. Yeah, they should ask a question to a fat black person. What do you think is a worse form of discrimination in society in modern day and age? Being fat or being black? Exactly. There's like a famous quote about this. You know, you can be queer presenting, and you can be black. There is definitely levels to this in terms of discrimination, systemic discrimination. Or a short black person, ask them that too. A mix of both, not gonna lie. Come on, man. Yeah, the American government. Who could forget when when the American government did the move bombing on a fat family for being short and fat, when they dropped C4 out of a helicopter, and then the police chief said, "Nah, keep the block burning." And then they took the bones of the short and fat people that they killed and they distributed amongst different college campuses until like literally 5 years ago when they returned the bones of the short and the fat people. Who can forget that? Like even in terms of skin color, who could forget that we have an entire brigade called ICE that is basically stopping people on the basis of being short and also on the basis of being fat. Do you understand how stupid this argument is? I'm really stressing it to the best of my ability. I'm trying to make people really understand how stupid this is. I don't know, Hasan, I'm 6'3", 240 pounds and black. And I remember working security a couple years back at high school in LA. There was this kid that was 6'7", and I would have to respect his height when he was around. There are rules. Okay. Yeah, they're stopping Mexicans for being short, dude. That's what they were doing this whole time. Yeah. Sorry, we have to deport you because you're fat. Or sorry, we have to deport you because you're short. No more shorties. We need tallies only. What the f?
Payment, it's a preference.
Liar.
How am I a liar?
6'5" is a lie.
You gotta round up.
Round it up heavy.
No, I didn't.
6'5".
I'm
6'4". Exactly.
And the irony is, height is 95% genetic. You can't train it, manifest it, or grind for it. No amount of effort is going to change your bone length. Only about 15% of men are 6 feet or taller, yet somehow that becomes the baseline nowadays. It's so bad that even talking about someone's weight is considered more offensive than mentioning their height, especially when it comes to women, right? And that's something that you can control. I just find it hilarious that this double, actually triple standard still exists till this day.
Heightism might be actually worse than racism. Our brains are shrinking. You both make good arguments. Man, shut the fuck up. No, we don't both make good arguments. I am standing directly in opposition to this argument. There is no world where both of us are making good arguments. You basically just said, hey, I see you, I hear you, you're being very reasonable, but also I'm 5'6". That's all you said to me with that statement, okay? Shut the fuck up. Listen, guys, I'm not one of these people that's going to be a silly Billy and tell you like, oh, it doesn't matter at all. Women don't look at that stuff at all. Of course they do. It's a hurdle, but it's one that you can climb, okay? It just gives you a worse starting position overall. And there are still plenty of people who don't give a shit about it regardless. But ultimately, it's absolutely something that does not lock you in to into a different category unless you make it the number one factor in your personality. It's that simple. Yes, for all the shorties. That's why I always say you can be a manlet or you can be a short king, but it's entirely up to you to choose which path you might take. That's it. Where's the equity, Hasan? Oh my God. Motherfucker being like, yo, motherfucker making the argument, yo, you said you claim to be a socialist and here you are hoarding all the height for yourself. The dating pool is smaller for sure. No. You want to know why that doesn't even matter? Because we're talking about such a ginormous dating pool that like even if you shave a little bit off the top, you haven't even gotten anywhere close to penetrating this ginormous sea of possible suitors. I usually agree with you, Hasan, but long girls have no right in these discussions. I really don't know why you high tops like to dig into your vertically limited lives. Dig into our vertically limited lives. The only thing beanpoles like you are good for is opening covers and giving uppies to us on the ground down here fighting the real fight. I heard Mao was 5'5". No, Mao was tall as f***. He's like my height. Mao was actually like 6'3" or 6'4" or some shit. I mean, he might have even been taller. Deng Xiaoping, on the other hand, he was a shorty. That's the Hunanese you're talking about. A Hunan man. A real fighter. We must put the shorties to work in the chocolate factory. You fail to realize that all the world leaders are tall and oppress the short. Brother, Vladimir Putin is like 5'3", okay? What's up? I don't know how tall Xi Jinping is. Is he tall? Mao was 5'11", Lamau. Okay, then his statue gave him a bunch of inches. Height difference of different dictators. These measurements are not completely accurate. dictators, and then it's Fidel Castro, Mao Zedong, Xi Jinping, Raul Castro, Kim Il Sung. Like the first, dude, come on, dude. Come on. Oh, when I think of dictators, I think Fidel Castro. What the f are you saying? Adolf Hitler, 5'7". Tito? Tito? They put Tito in there? I'm noticing a pattern here where there's very few right-wing dictators on this list. Lenin was 5'4". That's my goat of all goats. Look at that. It's by height, you idiot. Yeah, really? So Pinochet was 5'2", and that's why he didn't make the cut? Is that the argument you're making? Or is this a idiotic subreddit that thinks like every leftist leader was a dictator and perhaps way worse than anyone on the right ever could have been?